Hello friends, welcome back to my channel Mukesh English, and this is Mukesh Soni. Friends, in this video we shall have the discussion of an important lesson, the titled Britain Does Owe Reparations by Dr. Shashi Tharoor. And this lesson is in the syllabus of second semester BCA B.Sc Generic English under Bangalore City University. So in this video, we shall have the discussion. We will discuss here the summary of, we will discuss this lesson in the form of summary, as well as you will also get some important questions at the end of the summary. So please stay connected. Let's begin the discussion of the speech titled Britain Does Owe Reparations by Dr. Shashi Tharoor. So before that, let's know about the speaker. Shashi Tharoor is an author, politician, and former international civil servant and straddles several worlds of experience. Currently a third-term Lok Sabha MP representing the Thiruvananthapuram constituency and the chairman of Parliamentary Standing Committee on IT. He has also served the Minister of State for Human Resource Development and Minister of State for the External Affairs in the Government of India. During his nearly 3-decade-long prior career at the United Nations, he served as a peacekeeper and refugee worker and an administrator at the highest levels, serving as Under Secretary General during Kofi Annan's leadership of the organization. This current speech was a part of the debate conducted at the Oxford Union in 2015. So now what is the background of the speech? The Oxford Union Society is the world's most prestigious debating society with an unparalleled reputation for bringing international guests and speakers at Oxford. It has been established for 189 years, aiming to promote debate and discussion not just in Oxford University but across the globe. For this particular debate, the motion is, this House believes Britain owes reparations to her former colonies. Dr. Shashi Tharoor's speech is titled as Britain Does Owe Reparations. So now let's begin the highlights of the speech. The theme of the speech, Shashi Tharoor argued why Britain owes India reparations for the economic and psychological decline of its people during the rule, and that of all the countries in the Commonwealth, India was Britain's biggest cash cow from that period. In an explosive speech at the Oxford Union, Lok Sabha Minister of the Parliament Shashi Tharoor argued that the British looted and plundered India during the 2-century Raj of the subcontinent, and that Britain must accept that it owes a debt to India for its wrongdoings during the days of the empire. So that's the theme of the speech. Now we shall have the discussion of the speech by using some key points. Um, yeah. In his compelling speech, Britain does owe reparations, Britain does owe reparations, Shashi Tharoor presents a detailed argument for why Britain owes reparations to India for the damage caused during its colonial rule. Shashi Tharoor, an Indian politician and author, delivers his points with both historical evidence and moral reasoning. Shashi Tharoor, number one, he comments on the economic exploitation. Shashi Tharoor comments how the British systematically exploited India's economy for their own benefits. India was one of the world's leading manufacturing countries before British rule, especially in textiles. The British policies, however, destroyed these industries to make India's market for British goods and a supplier of raw materials. He cites an estimated $45 trillion transferred from India to Britain over the colonial period, significantly enriching Britain at India's expense. Second key point of his speech is here, resource extraction and famines. Shashi Tharoor discusses the devastating impact of British economic policies on India's resources and population, raw materials like cotton, iron, and other resources were extracted and sent to Britain, leaving India impoverished. Shashi Tharoor also highlights the Bengal famine of 1943, where millions died. He attributes this to British policies that prioritized war efforts, and economic gain over the well-being of the Indian people. Third key point we find in his speech is here moral and ethical responsibility. He argues that beyond the economic arguments, there is a moral responsibility that Britain must acknowledge. He suggests that Britain should formally acknowledge the wrongs done and apologize. Even a symbolic act of reparation, like £1 per year for 200 years, would signify the recognition of the atrocities committed. So he says that at least let them pay £1 per year for the last 200 years. He also emphasizes that acknowledging historical wrongs is crucial for moral and ethical reasons, and it can pave the way for the better future relations. Fourth key point we find here enduring impact. He explains that the legacy of British colonialism has had long lasting effects on India. The systematic deindustrialization and resource drain left India economically crippled at the time of independence. The colonial rule also had profound social and psychological impacts, instilling a sense of inferiority and dependency among Indians. Then, in this manner, we can say Shashi Tharoor's speech is a powerful call for justice and recognition. He argues that acknowledging the past wrongs and making reparations, even symbolic one, is a step towards healing historical wounds and building a more just and equitable global future. His speech resonates not only as a critic of colonialism, but also as a broader commentary on the need for historical accountability and reconciliation. So, in this manner, this is how we have discussed here the brief summary of the speech title Britain Does Owe Reparations. Now, we are going to have the discussion of the important questions from this lesson with reference to your textbook. What is Sir Richard Otway's argument? The argument is here challenging the very idea that it could be argued that the economic situation of the colonies was actually worsened by the experience of British colonialism. Second question, how is Britain's rise to power over 200 years explained by the speaker? Britain's rise for 200 years was financed by its desperation, by its depredations in India. In fact, Britain's industrial revolution was actually premised upon the deindustrialization of India. Third question, what was the effect of importing finished clothing on Indian weavers? The Indian weavers became beggars, and India went from being a world famous exporter of finished cloth into an importer, went from having 27% of the world trade to less than 2%. Question number 4. How was money from India used by the colonialists? The wealthy Victorian British families that made their money out of the slave economy, one-fifth of the elites of the wealthy class in Britain in the 19th century owed their money to transporting 3 million Africans across the waters. Next question, what does the phrase satanic mills indicate? It indicates the factories of England. When was slavery abolished? In the year 1833. The number of soldiers from India who were sent to the World War I is one-sixth of the British forces that fought in the war were Indian. 54,000 Indians actually lost their lives in that war, and 65,000 were wounded, and another 4,000 remained missing or in the prison. Why does the speaker say that World War II had a worse effect on India? Second World War, it was even worse, 2.5 million Indians in uniform. Out of Britain's total war debt of £3 billion in 1945 money, that is 1.25 billion, was owed to India and never actually paid. Name the colonizing countries that are paying reparations today: Italy, Japan, and Britain. And the last question, all hay or all het and no cattle. That means informally, it here refers to US that tend to talk boastfully without actions on one's words. So friends, this is how I have tried to give a brief summary of the lesson Britain Does Owe Reparations by Dr. Shashi Tharoor with few questions. And for more questions for 5 marks, 10 marks, I suggest you to refer to the textbook and to refer my summary. I also solved the 2 or 3 question papers of the last year's on model question paper, 2022 question paper, 2023 question papers, and all the other lessons summary and the questions are also done. So for the other lesson summary, kindly look into the description box, and also for the last year's question paper. Thanks for watching my video. If you have any questions, you can reach me at mukeshenglish@gmail.com. Subscribe the channel. If you're not yet subscribed the channel, click on the like button, share the video to your friends. Thank you so much. Stay in tune with Mukesh English.